This is the Denza B5, a new plug-in hybrid SUV with serious 4x4 capability, and it's got EV driving range which might surprise you and a price which might delight you. So let's talk about it in this review. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. It's Denza B5 time. The Denza B5 is going to be offered in two different grades, and there's a bit of difference between the two. The entry-level version is called just B5, and then the high-grade version is called the Leopard, which is a nice hat tip to the existing name under Fangcheng Bao. And I do think that this is a very impressively specified car, no matter which version you pick, and starting below $80,000 is the tip that we're getting. So I do think, honestly, the price could be right for plenty of people who are considering some of the mainstream well-known SUVs that have off-road capability. But hey, let's talk about what you're getting for that kind of money. Now, all grades are going to come with things like full LED lighting. There's a Bluetooth key capability system here, so you can actually just walk up to the car and it'll unlock if you've got your phone with you. You've also got a fantastic 360-degree camera system, parking sensors all around as well, and you've got a wireless phone charger inside, a 15.6-inch touchscreen media system with CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly available, a 12.3-inch instrument panel, 16-speaker sound system, a Napa leather interior trim finish which looks great. You've also got soundproof glass, 16 different drive modes, and plenty of other safety, spec and tech beyond that. Now, if you choose the entry-level B5 model, you're getting 18-inch wheels with Continental tires on the passive suspension. But if you choose this B5 Leopard, you get the Denza P hydraulic suspension setup with height adjustment, and you're also getting 20-inch wheels with Pirelli tires. Now, I think honestly, if you're thinking about this car as an off-roader, you'd probably get rid of those wheels and get different wheels and tires anyway. But let me tell you about some alternatives that you might want to consider if you're thinking about a big SUV with off-road capability. One big off-roader with 5 seats that you might want to consider is the GWM Tank 500 plug-in hybrid. It does seem to be a pretty compelling thing. It's capable off-road, it's opulent and luxurious, and it's got heaps of standard spec and tech for the money. Starts at $80,000 drive away, or a little bit less for the introductory offer, and it's got a decent amount of EV driving range as well. But it does also feel a little bit old school compared to this, and maybe not as tech focused. Otherwise, I guess you could be looking at something a bit more traditional in its approach to the market. The Toyota Prado would be one to consider. It's a very, very good thing in its own way, and it also has a number of different variants available, 5 or 7 seats on offer, and a 2.8-litre turbo diesel engine, which could be a very good choice, but not ideal if you are looking for electrification as part of your life. But hey, if you're sold on the idea of a Denza, you want plug-in hybrid tech, and maybe you want 3 rows of seats, it could be worth having a look at the Denza B8, which does add a lot to the price. We're talking a pretty significant price jump, but you're also getting more standard spec. You're also getting 3 rows of seats with either 6 or 7 seat layout, and it has improved towing capability, 3.5-ton towing for that one, and it's a big machine that feels very, very special on the inside. So which one would you pick? Have your say in the comments. It looks pretty amazing, doesn't it? This thing, just under 4.9 meters long, so it's not small, but it does have the boxy look going on. A long wheelbase, 2.8 meters, and it does have some really, really impressive off-road angles. Now, if you choose the Denza P model, it's got even better off-road capability. You'll see the approach, breakover, and departure angles on your screen, and then I'll put the other angles for the other model on your screen so you can see for yourself. There is a bit of difference there, but it also will remember the height that you've set it on when you are getting in and out of the vehicle. Now, at the back here, you can see it looks pretty tidy. It's got a full-size spare on the back, and as I said, you do get the tow kit as standard. And when it comes to your boot area, well, you've got a side-swinging tailgate from this side. So, yeah, I actually think that it's maybe not handy. Wait there, it won't lock. So you tell me if you think that's handy or not, because I think you really need to be mindful. If you're someone who likes to reverse park into shopping center car parks or something, that's a big problem. And it also sort of swings the wrong way, doesn't it? Because if you're on the curb and say you're standing over there, you have to walk all the way around it to get into the boot. So yeah, just keep those things in mind. Excuse the mess in the back here. This is a busy day, but you do have, you know, a loose charging cable. You could probably put that in there, which would be a good idea. As you can see, it does have a lock for the side swinging tailgate because it is heavy. There's also a couple of little handles up the top there. And the boot space itself, well, it's pretty basic, I've got to say. You do have a few good inclusions, some little hooks in the back, at the front there as well, 12-volt light, and same on that side too. So look, I think it's pretty good. And this is a vehicle to load adapter. Now, that is pretty handy, so you can plug that in to the charge port and you can run stuff at your campsite or at work or whatever. Yeah, neat. But is it a deal breaker, having the side swinging gate the wrong way? Righto, time for a quick run through of the interior of the Denza B5. Now this is going to be quick because I'm running out of time, but you do have the expected big screen in front of the driver, plenty of information available there. Then there's this screen here which has heaps and heaps of great technology, and well, one of the best bits of technology here is this surround view camera system. So you can activate that by hitting the switch on the steering wheel there. And look, you've got so many different modes and views. If you want to jump through different perspectives of the vehicle, you can do so. It's very, very good tech. And then there's the drive modes, and there's plenty of different modes available to you for your off-roading. Look at those, there's heaps there. And there's even a race mode. Haven't had a chance to test that one yet, but subscribe and ring the bell. You'll be notified when I get a chance to do more on the B5, because this is very, very good, and I'll show you how it all behaves when it comes to the off-road stuff shortly, but it's a super impressive bit of technology. Of course, you've got a drop-down box with some controls there that you might want to use. You've also got your seat ventilation and heating controls up there, massage functions too. So look, heaps of tech on board this screen, and thankfully a number of actual physical controls down here. So you've got a little scroll wheel for your volume over here. This one has the Dices P suspension, so that's how you can do adjustment for that if you need to. You've got your diff lock buttons. Your start button is that red one, kind of cool. Drive modes, low range, so yeah, EV, HEV, look, there's plenty of different modes in here. In here, you'll also find a pair of cup holders, and there is a fridge, and I've put the key in there because I'm trying to keep it cool. No, but this is a cool box that can go down to -6 and all the way up to 6 degrees if you need it to. So that's pretty nifty, I have to say. And the material quality in here is excellent. These Nappa leather seats are comfortable, supportive, nicely adjustable, and I just feel like this design is beautiful. I love the integrated hoik handles there. So if you are wondering what they are, they're those handles there, so you can get in and out of the car without having your view obstructed on the pillars. That's a driver monitoring camera, by the way. Decent mirrors as well, and I just feel like this is a very, very nice cabin in terms of the design. As I said, I'm going to do more later on, but you've also got scroll wheels on the steering wheel there and controls there. So yeah, just please subscribe and ring the bell and you'll be notified when I get a chance to show you more of the interior. But yeah, 2 wireless phone chargers, that's good too. Now let's check out the back seat, see what it's like. Okay, that seat is set for my driving position and I have heaps of space. I'm a 6-footer and I've got plenty of leg room, good amount of foot wiggle room as well, and headroom, as you can see, very, very good. And the glass roof does add some niceness to the back here. It makes it feel a bit more airy. You've got grab handles up here. There are lights as well and vents overhead. There's more vents down here as well, which is excellent. And you've got climate control settings back here with ventilated and heated outboard seats. So luxurious, you bet. A couple of USB charge ports, loads of storage in the back here too. Good sized pockets in the doors, soft padding where you'd expect it to be. It all feels great. Hoik handle there. And look, this is just a really, really nice place to sit. It's got a flat floor as well, which is surprising for a vehicle like this. Most others have a big transmission tunnel intrusion, but this one doesn't because of the electrification. But it's also got ISOFIX points in the window seats, 3 top tethers, a flip down armrest with storage and cup holders, so you are not missing out on anything in the back of this car. It really does offer a whole lot for the money. Under the bonnet of the Denza B5 is a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine, and it's got electrification as part of the equation, of course. Now, we'll talk about the battery specs and the charging stuff you need to know in the next segment of this video, but let's talk about the performance on offer here. 425 kilowatts, 760 Newton meters of torque. So certainly a whole heap of grunt, 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds. Yeah. Ridiculous for something that's this off-road capable. And speaking of off-road capability, you've got front and rear electromechanical diff locks and a simulated center differential. And you've got the option of the Denza P hydraulic suspension, which is available on this one here, the Leopard. But just keep in mind that the Leopard model does have a lower payload than the other model. Now, the Leopard has 490 kilos of payload capacity. The standard B5 has 600 kilos. And all versions of the Denza B5 sold in Australia have 3-ton braked towing capacity, and they all come with a tow bar, a hitch, and a 12-pin socket as standard, fitted at no cost. So no accessory add-ons when you come to buy this vehicle. Pretty impressive. On the curb side, you'll find your fuel filler cap, but on the other side is where your electric charge port is, and that might be an issue if you're a curb parker or you find yourself just parked on the street and you want to get some quick charge. But look, you do have a couple of considerations when it comes to the charging here. There is AC charging, and you can see the rate for that on your screen now, and it should mean a relatively good charge time for this battery pack, which I'll tell you about in a sec. And then you've got DC charging as well, so it will actually do pretty decent DC charging if you're on the road and you just want to continue on in electric mode or save that EV power for later on. Then you've got that capability as well. And when it comes to the battery capacity, it's a 31.8 kilowatt hour LFP battery, and it does offer a pretty good amount of EV driving range, as you'll see on screen now. So yeah, I'd really love to know if you think this could be the right car for you if you're looking for a four-wheel drive that has, well, EV as part of its equation. All right, let's have a look at this screen, because this is your control center for all the stuff that you really need to pay attention to when you're off-roading. Now, I've done a little bit of off-road already, but I'll show you some of the modes that we need to check out here. Rock and mountain are the ones that we'll be focusing on here. So the rock section, let's go hit it up. Put it into rock. Now, the thing I've found straight off the bat is that it is a little difficult to judge the pedal feel for this sort of off-roading. Now, I don't like driving on rocks. I always find it to be a little bit disconcerting, but the reality is if you do find yourself needing to scramble over a dried up creek bed or something like that, then you've got the capability to do so. The throttle action and also the brake is something that really takes some getting used to. Once you are a bit more used to it, it's okay, but I mean, the brake pedal feel maybe isn't as natural feeling as some other off-roaders, but that's probably no surprise to you because this is not like lots of the other off-roaders. Now, for this next section, I'm going to take it out of rock mode. So hit the screen here, go back to mountain mode. Now that will also disconnect the rear differential lock, and we'll go up this hill, which is a pretty steep climb, and the traction control stuff should manage things for us. Here we go, just up and up and up. That is very steep, and we are up and over the top. No diff lock needed there, so that was pretty easy. Down through this little mud patch as well. Don't need to put it into mud mode for that because it's not that wet. But I am going to engage the hill descent control mode. Just hit that button and up on the screen it will show me that I've put it into hill descent, and it will basically just allow me to coast over the top of this crest. There you go. So it is quite a blind sort of view over the top there. Look at that. Can't see what's coming up, but it is a very steep drop. So we'll go over the edge. This is like 23 degrees steep or something. It is quite steep. So yep, you can sort of see the background is getting much more almost vertical. But yeah, it's, look, 1 kilometer an hour and it is holding things very nicely down there. There's none of that brake modulation where it goes in this car. It's silent, and yes, very, very impressive technology. We'll continue on here, coast over this little section through this other mud patch, and yep, loving this. It's actually quite serene to do this all in relative silence. Once the battery gets down to a state of charge that it needs the engine to kick to life, it will do that for you. You don't really need to think about it, but it is super duper simple when it comes to that. There we go, there's the engine right there coming to life, almost on cue. But yes, we'll just continue up over the top of this crest here. Using that camera system, it is so very handy, and because if I didn't have that camera system, I wouldn't know where I should be pointing my wheels. The lines tell me which way I should be pointing them and which way they will follow if I do that. Just down over this section here again, hill descent control. Yep, that is very steep. Don't want to tuck into the front of that little water crossing. And over we go. We'll just gently push across here, turn off the hill descent because we don't need that anymore, and cruise over this creek bed. And look, a couple of things that stand out to me, apart from the fact that the throttle and the brake do take some learning in terms of the way that they feel underfoot. The technical capability of this thing is exceptional. The stability control seems to be very, very well considered in terms of allowing you to basically do what you know you should be doing. And also the steering has a good amount of weight to it. Not much feel, but it does have a good level of weighting to it to allow you to sort of just keep, you know, like your hands are actually helping you find your way through where you're going. The suspension is exceptionally comfortable, I have to say. Yep, you can see what we're going to go over here. And in the drive modes, we're still in L and we are still in mountain. So let's go over that. All right, so this is sort of a mogully section where we really get to see the articulation capability of this vehicle. It is extremely good in terms of articulation. I'm just going to try and keep the steering wheel pretty straight. I'm going to try and also manage my way through here without too much acceleration. And yes, I have to say, this is so very capable. Trying not to steer too much because I am sort of one wheel up, one wheel down, and yep, it is just coasting over these. And the other thing is the throttle response. I mean, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but we are teeter-tottering our way across this pretty serious little stretch of up and overs. So look, we're about, yep, we're sort of teeter-tottering again there. But this is just, I mean, it's eating it up. The technology on offer here is really, really impressive. Just touch down on the side there a little bit, but the clearance is good. And I mean, if you're thinking that a BYD/Denza B5 isn't going to be able to keep up with the Prados and Land Cruisers out there and the Patrols, well, I reckon you're wrong. It's really quite good. All right, so in the versions with the DCIS P system, so the height adjustable suspension, if you adjust between the modes, it will also change your suspension height. The version I was in before didn't have that, but this one does. So we're in high suspension mode right now, and we're gonna go over some more obstacles. Right, so the different suspension, let's see what difference it makes, because it does have the height adjustable hydraulic suspension here. So plenty of articulation, as was the case before. Yep, bit of up and over there, and trying to keep the steering wheel pretty straight. Just a little bit of angle on that side. There we go. Up here. Always feels more gnarly from the driver's seat. Probably feels more gnarly if you're a passenger, quite frankly, but certainly does feel like it's doing this sort of thing very, very easily. I am being quite careful with my pedal application because it does have a bit of a bitey sort of feel to the pedal. You do have to get used to that, as I said, but it's doing that. Up and overs, pretty bloody easy, I gotta say. So you can do serious off-roading in silence and in an EV drive mode that will actually change the way you think about off-roading. I think that's one thing about this car compared to, say, a Tank 500. In a Tank 500, you can't do the off-road thing in full silence because it will kick the engine into life. Yep, so we're still in high suspension. Our rear diff has locked. Certainly is a bit of a difference to the suspension feel compared to the passive suspension setup. This feels a little bit more capable, maybe not as intact with the surface, but that's probably no surprise either. Now, try our hill here. Here we go, we're in mountain mode. No lock diff, no low range. Easy does it. No issues. That seems to be the thing with this car. It's just sort of eating up everything that I'm throwing at it. And again, a different set of tires would make it another ball game entirely, I would suggest. So if you do choose one of the vehicles with the Denza P system, your hill descent control is actually a button on the drag down screen, or you can go through the screen to do it. But now we've got hill descent on, as you can see up there. Let's go over this. Here we go. Yep, that's pretty steep, and it's managing it very, very easily. No stress whatsoever. I'm not really sure whether the Denza P system for me really is as significant a change to the drive experience as I was expecting. Obviously, the extra clearance and off-road capability that you get by having this system will be worthwhile for those who are going to be hardcore off-roading a lot, no doubt about that. But the standard vehicle is still ultra impressive. So yeah, I like it. I don't think Denza's going to have any trouble trying to sell this. It's a very impressive vehicle, plug-in hybrid powertrain with luxury interior and off-road capability. I mean, it's going to suit a lot of people's needs, and it looks fantastic too. But what do you think? Have you say in the comments, is the sub $80,000 price tag the right sort of price for this one? Let me know. Thanks. I'll see you when I see you.